Check, check. 1, 2, 3.
County Board of Commissioners. It is Wednesday, December 14th, and we'll begin with our public statement.
We, the Monroe County Board of Commissioners, renew our commitment to welcome and protect the rights of all people, regardless of age, race, color, creed, disability, sexual orientation, gender, gender identity, marital status, economic status, and national origin. We affirm the right of all people to live peacefully and without fear, and we will fight and resist at every step discrimination and harmful policies, whatever their source. We also stand in support of our county public school systems, both RBB and MCCSC.
All right, thank you so much, Commissioner Jones. I will note for the record that all three members of the Board of Commissioners are present, and we do have an amendment to our agenda, please.
Move to add item M, ordinance to amend chapter 230 of the Monroe County Code.
We have a motion and we have a second. All those in favor of amending the agenda to add item M signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Next, we have department updates. We have Ms. Kelly here from the Health Department. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Just a few updates. We are seeing high levels of flu cases across the county and the state at this time. As a reminder, the Public Health Clinic has flu shots and all vaccines available. You can call 812-353-3244 for an appointment. We have seen a small increase in COVID cases compared to last week. Averages are around 11 cases increased per day. And the FDA has authorized emergency use of the bivalent booster for ages 6 months to 5 years for Moderna and 6 months to 4 years for Pfizer. The Public Health Clinic should be receiving orders of this later this week.
All right, thank you so much. Comments, questions? Commissioner Githens?
No.
Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Kelly. That is really good news about vaccine availability being expanded. Awesome. Let's see if there's any other departments who have an update for us. Raise your hand on the Zoom screen. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to public comment. This section of our agenda is reserved for public comment for items that are not on our agenda. Each commenter is limited to 3 minutes total time, just as they are with our regular agenda items. When you get to 2 minutes and 30 seconds, you'll hear a tone. That means you have 30 seconds left to provide your comment. We'll start with Mr. Shelton, please. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jim Shelton with the Chamber, but speaking again this morning on behalf of CASA's, the Court-Appointed Special Advocates. Want to make the public aware that CASA's winter training will begin in just about a month. It's going to run from January 18th through February 8th. It'll be Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And they're trying a new time slot and hoping that makes the training available to a different group of people than we've had in the past. Instead of being in the evenings, it's going to be in the morning. So it'll run from 9 a.m. to noon, again on Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. For people who've been thinking about being a CASA, this would be a really good time to actually go do the training and be sworn in and start taking cases. We have over 20 children right now who are waiting for a volunteer to be available to be assigned for them. For somebody who hasn't thought about being a CASA before, you can go to monroecountycasa.org, click on the volunteer link, and learn all about what a CASA is. A CASA is basically a volunteer who advocates for children who are in the court system because their parents have abused or neglected them. So they, in effect, are the eyes and ears of the court. They help Judge Galvin's about to retire, Judge Harvey, and whoever steps up to take over cases that she can't handle, to know what is going on in the child's life and what would be the best things to help that child and see what the parents are doing to work toward either reunification or the termination of parental rights. It's very fulfilling. You work the case with a CASA staff member. So if there's any things that you didn't learn in training, you can turn to them and get whatever help you may need. So again, MonroeCountyCASA.org. On the volunteer link, you'll find the application, which you can fill out online or send in. And then after that, you would undergo a background check, since you will be working with children. And then you would be interviewed, and the training will start again January 18th. So I invite people to please think about that. It's very fulfilling. It's not that hard. Sometimes it can be a little emotionally stressful because these cases tend to go up and down and up and down. You think everything is getting better, and then all of a sudden it's not. But again, you would work the case with an experienced staff member. And in the end, you would have the joy of the child or children being reunited with their parents or perhaps adopted. So thank you for the opportunity to bring that to the public's attention.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone else who wishes to offer public comment for an item not on our agenda? All right, seeing none, we'll come back to our agenda. Item 5, please.
Move approval of the minutes from December 7th, 2022.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments, corrections, edits?
The one correction I had has already been made by Ms. Freeman.
Right. All those in favor of approving the minutes for December 7th, 2022, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Move approval of the claims docket, accounts payable December 14th, 2022, and payroll December 16th, 2022.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Littler, tell us all about it, please.
Good morning, Commissioners. Accounts payable for December 14th, 2022 is $88,961,560.33. Payroll for December 16th, 2022 is $1,719,863.46.
Thank you so much. Comments, questions? Commissioner Githens.
I'm not sure I heard that amount correctly for the accounts payable. Not sure it was what I saw on our.
Can you restate the total for the accounts payable?
$88,961,560.33.
Thank you.
$560.33.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
Is there any public comment on this item? Raise your hand on the Zoom screen or come to the podium in the Nat U Hill room. Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the claims docket, accounts payable December 14th, 2022, and payroll December 16th, 2022, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. And we'll now move on to new business. Item 8, please.
Move approval of the 2023 Department of Corrections Community Corrections Grant. Fund name. This will be Community Corrections Program Grant. Fund number 9141 in an amount of $1,049,167. The pretrial grant line for fund number 9157 in an amount of $271,888. The drug court grant line 9147 in an amount of $157,711. And finally, the mental health court grant fund number 9149 in an amount of $49,376 for a total amount of $1,528,000. And I'm sorry, for a total amount of $1,528,120.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and I'll note on the pretrial grant fund 9157, it's $271,866.
Oh, I misstated. So sorry.
That's quite all right. No, you had a lot to read there. Quite all right. Okay, so we have a motion and a second, and we have Ms. Street joining us. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Becca Strite, Community Corrections Director and Deputy Chief Probation Officer. This is, as you just read all those numbers, this is our department's largest grant that we receive every year. We're actually moving into our 40th year of receiving grant funding from the Department of Correction. This funding supports salary and benefits for staff for our home detention electronic monitoring program, day reporting program, pretrial, drug court, and mental health court programs. The other thing that this grant does, specifically the community corrections one, it also supports a new position that we gained last year of our evidence-based practices coordinator. Evidence-based practices, our department is rooted in that. Everything that we do with our clients to help them change their thinking and their behavior is based in research. So all our staff, from our support staff, field officers, supervisors, and our probation officers, everyone is trained in evidence-based practices, and they all work incredibly hard to provide services to our clients to help them from coming back through the system and making positive changes in their life. The other exciting thing that happened with our department this year regarding our grants is the Department of Correction has embarked on a new assessment procedure to assess programs who receive funding. And they reached out to our county and asked if we would be the training site for all of their Department of Correction staff. Knowing how rooted we are in evidence-based practices, they really wanted to get a look using their assessment tool on a well-functioning department and program. So we're still waiting for the results of that assessment, but it was definitely an honor to be part of their training process. And then just a few other highlights for you. Regarding our drug treatment program presided by our, presided by Judge Dekoff. It began in 1999, and as of about 2 weeks ago, we had 514 graduates of drug court. In 2014, our mental health court program began, also presided over by Judge Dekoff, and those participants are provided very intensive services to address any mental health needs they have, which we know is vital in keeping them in the community and engaged in services to help them in any way we can. And as of 2 weeks ago, there were 23 graduates of that program. And then lastly, regarding our pretrial grant, I'm sure people have heard me talk many times before that in 2016, we started as a pretrial pilot site, one of 11 counties in the state. We've since grown and moved past the pilot stage, and we are now a certified pretrial program with 3 primary goals: to maximize release from jail, maximize people showing up for their court appearances, and maximizing community safety. Since 2016, we have assessed approximately 10,000 defendants, which means that we have spoken to about 10,000 individuals who have been arrested and completed a risk assessment on them regarding the case that they were arrested for. And we've been able to provide risk-based, validated tool, risk-based information to the courts to help them make decisions about releasing people from jail so they don't have to pay money to get out. And also helping the courts decide what type of conditions or services a client might need during that pretrial process. So we're very grateful for our partnership with the Department of Correction for giving us this funding, and of course grateful to you, the commissioners, for supporting us through this grant process every year. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Ms. Strite. I'm sorry I mispronounced your name earlier. Comments, questions, Commissioner Githens?
Well, just a couple of comments. I really look forward to also seeing the assessment that your program has been going through. But I also want to congratulate everybody involved for the number of people who have graduated from both the drug court and the mental health program. I'd also like to point out that we have a couple of other specialty courts in our county, which I think there are a total of 4, so that we have a veterans court and I forget the other one.
Reentry.
Thank you. Thank you. I just think that this is a benefit to everyone within the community.
Commissioner Jones.
Yeah, I'd just like to emphasize 2 words that Ms. Strite used several times, and that we've been hearing from probation and community corrections for a long time. And that's evidence-based. And that's truly important, that everything they do is actually based on data that indicates that it is successful and helpful. So this is something that's really important that we should be focusing on.
Yeah, that's a great point. And we really appreciate the hard work of everyone on the staff who make this a possibility. And it really has changed a lot of lives in Monroe County. And we're looking forward to seeing more success in the near future. Thank you very much. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on the Zoom screen or come to the podium. Annette U. Hill. Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the 2023 Department of Corrections Community Corrections Grant signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Move approval of the recommendation of payment for voter registration per diem, fund name elections, fund number 1215 in an amount of $9,249.50.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and we have Ms. Turner King joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, commissioners. On December 6th of 2022, the county council with unanimous consent approved the settlement agreement before you today, recommending payment for voter registration per diem to the clerk for the years of 2016 to 2022. The voter registration per diem is a statutory, would be paid pursuant to Indiana Code 371222, which says in a county where the clerk serves as the voter registration officer, she is entitled to a per diem. So the county council addressed this for 2022 and 2023, and they set the per diem amount in the amount of $6.50 per day for 246 days. This settlement provides that same payment to the clerk for the years of 2016 to 2021. The exception is for 2016, it is prorated to the date that the clerk took office and she was caucused in 2016. The full amount for the settlement agreement proposed is $9,249.50. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Gissens?
Yes, in calculating the 246 days, it seems that if we base it on a 365 days per year, that it takes off the weekends and it takes off the number of official county holidays. But this seems to pay the clerk for any days she's doing substitute teaching, which I know she does occasionally through Monroe County Community School Corporation, and also gives her per diem during her vacation days. Is that correct?
That is correct. The statute doesn't provide much guidance. It just says that the clerk is entitled to her per diem when she serves as the voter registration officer. So it's a duty that she does as virtue of her office.
I'm against paying people per diems for days that they're not working for the county. So,
Commissioner Jones?
Yeah, I guess the ordinance probably doesn't address this, but I'm a little surprised that the amount is the same for the year when we don't have any elections. I do realize that voter registration still continues during that time, but I'm sure it's at a much lower rate.
The ordinance doesn't provide a set amount. The county council picks that amount, and they picked the amount of $6.50 for 2022 and 2023. The proposal is that we use that same amount for the back years. That doesn't mean that in years where there is not an election, the county council moving forward couldn't change the amount to accommodate for the lesser constraints that voter registration may play during those years.
Thank you.
I appreciate the thoughtfulness of my colleagues' comments and Commissioner Gissens' research is pretty startling. I know this has to get done. I'm not a huge fan, given everything that we know, but let's see if there's any public comment on this item. You can raise your hand on the Zoom screen or come to the podium. Okay, seeing none, come back for a vote. All those in favor of accepting the recommendation of payment for voter registration per diem signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
That is a vote of 2-1. Thank you. And the motion carries. I need to say that, sorry. All right, item C, please.
Move to approve ordinance 2022-50, amend Monroe County Code, Chapter 270.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and we have Mr. Cockrell joining us.
Yes, this motion is to, and this ordinance would create 4 new funds in our auditor system. Each of the funds is based upon kind of outside entities giving payment. The first 2 is the Monroe County Local Assistance and Travel Consistency Fund is essentially almost a very small mirror to the ARPA funding that we've talked about. So I think we've got I believe it was about $80,000 additional dollars that could be utilized similarly to what we use ARPA. So that's what that fund, the Title IV-E non-reimbursement fund. This is one that the State Board of Accounts has requested we create to deal with Title IV-E funds from the federal government. The other 2 are the opioid restricted and opioid non-restricted funds. These are kind of much more in our wheelhouse in that we were part of the litigation that led to these settlements. These 2 funds and these 2 fund numbers are recommended by the 2 fund numbers were instructed by the State Board of Accounts. I will say we did get our first settlement from that. For this week, we received $542,570.44, which will be distributed between these 2 funds. Roughly 15% will go to the unrestricted and the remaining will go to the restricted.
Thank you so much. Comments, questions? Commissioner Githens?
No.
Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
I appreciate you organizing all of this. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on the Zoom screen or come to the podium in the Nat U Hill room. Seeing none, all those in favor of approving ordinance 2022-50 signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Move approval of ordinance 2022-51, repealing ordinance 2018-9, the Affordable Housing Commission.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Cockrell.
Yes, this ordinance does, as is entitled, it repeals the ordinance that created our Affordable Housing Commission. The logic behind that is that we have, through the last few years, worked on a process where we're working with the Heading Home Plan, and that the resources and the members of our Affordable Housing Commission are serving in capacities on both of those. And so we kind of get rid of that redundancy and focus on the Heading Home.
Thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Githens?
I think given the funding that's available with the Heading Home program that we actually help supply a fair amount of, that this actually addresses at least some of the issues that the Affordable Housing Advisory Commission had raised with us. So I think it's a good step forward.
Commissioner Jones?
Yeah, I think the approach that is being taken by United Way and the Community Foundation with Heading Home is very well thought out and is probably as effective as anything that can be done. And I think having the people on our Affordable Housing Commission working with them will be the way to achieve the most positive results.
Yeah, when the Heading Home project started, one of the things that was pointed out that we all knew, but it was really pointed out very clearly, is that there are so many organizations and so many agencies in the community working on this issue, and it is a significant, important issue. And this decision doesn't reflect the significance of the issue, but by diluting our resources and our time and the expertise and the energy of the folks in the community who really want to do a lot of good, I think it's better to focus and to put all of our resources in one place. And that's why I'm going to support this. And we can always, bring this back. We can always create an affordable housing commission in the future. This doesn't mean it's gone forever. It's just for now. But it just seems to be that so many of our affordable housing commission members are working on the Heading Home project and doing great work there. And we cannot thank them enough for all their hard work. That it's just a good move at this time to conserve our resources a bit.
May I also add that we are looking to use some of the ARPA money to share with our township trustees to help rehab homes and residences out in the county. So I think that we are also looking at other ways to move things forward.
Oh, absolutely.
Because that also helps to make housing more affordable for people.
Yeah, and there are people who lack housing, the unhoused. There are people who lack affordable housing. There are folks who want to age in place and are having a difficult time making repairs on aging homes. There are so many factors and sectors of the community who we're serving and the Heading Home project is serving. I think that's a really great one. So thank you for that. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on the Zoom screen or come to the podium in the Nat U Hill room. Seeing none, all those in favor of approving ordinance 2022-51 signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Move approval of the ratification of the Indiana University Jail Experience Survey, Fund Name American Rescue Plan Act, Fund Number 8950, in an amount of $83,000.
We have a motion.
Second.
And we have a second. Mr. Cockrell.
Yes, we discussed this in detail at last week's work session where it was approved. As that conversation occurred, the approval was subject to a few things which have been added to the document. One is contingent upon approval of appropriation by the county council and acceptance by the Monroe County Sheriff and the Monroe County Board of Judges, as well as this program is to give surveys to people who are in or have been in our correctional facility. So those surveys questions are subject to review and approval by the sheriff to make sure everybody's understanding what's going on.
Great. Thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Githens?
I just like to comment that any kind of survey like this also has to go through a review process at the IU Institutional Review Board, since it involves human subjects. And so I think there are a couple of layers of protection for people.
Commissioner Jones.
Yeah, this will help us to start collecting the data that we need to really understand what is going on in the criminal justice system and what changes can be made to make it more efficient and more just.
Yeah, no, I think this is a great project, and that data is what we need. We just don't have that information right now. So really great. And thank you for your work on that, Commissioner Jones. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on the Zoom screen or come to the podium in the Nat U Hill room.
Good morning, commissioners, distinguished staff. This is Christopher MG from the Greater Bloomington Chamber of Commerce. Today, I stand before you as the voice of business community in support of the American Rescue Plan Act Fund number 8950. We have been a strong advocate of the Community Justice Reform Commission's efforts. Our last month's luncheon on this topic has been the most discussed community conversation we have had in my 5 years at the Chamber. for this commission to make the necessary recommendations, these are the type of investments that will be imperative to have the improvements that best optimize the system. The current reform debate has often been dominated by the prospect of a new facility, where it's located, and to a lesser extent, the programs revolving around mental illness and addiction, all hugely important, but the dialogue can veer toward the negative, can be a bit cantankerous, with an ideal in search of the tangible. Where I have appreciated Commissioner Jones' leadership is the need for more and better data. This is something I believe we can reach a consensus on. Creating a dashboard with real-time figures, outcome measures, and benchmarks will go a long way to proving our system across the board. Crucial contract renewals come before this body. As an administrator to the county government, your informed decision is vital, but you're only as good as the information that is before you. These are advancements that can and should be made in the short run to improve our justice system. The silos that prohibit us can come down. We begin speaking the same language from a common center. This survey is a vehicle for such a discussion. On a personal, as a former Arizona evaluator on the federal government's No Child Left Behind reading program, our team was tasked to figure out why some schools were successful in implementing this and why others were not. Much to my surprise, it was not leadership, it was not collaboration or even teacher buy-in, but the key factor was the use of data. Grade level meetings took on a different form of collaboration with this sort of understanding. The principal could provide tangible feedback. It was not used as an evaluation tool, but rather to learn and make progress. I thank you all for your time today and happy holidays.
Thank you, Mr. MG. Anyone else who wishes to offer comment on this item, raise your hand on the Zoom screen or come to the podium in the Nat U Hill Room. Seeing none, all those in favor of ratifying the jail experience survey with Indiana University signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Move approval of the ratification of Monroe County American Rescue Plan Act Policy Revision Number 4, Fund Name, American Rescue Plan Act, Fund Number 8950. And I believe that there are multiple things to go with this. Right.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, Mr. Coughlin.
Yes, at last Wednesday's work session, we discussed all these projects. These are to reflect the appropriations made by the county council after the joint conversation with the county council and county commissioners. I would just note that in last week's version, the Hoosier Hills Food Bank had a different description of what they were buying that had said some kind of trailer. Working with that, the request was for, and I think the approval was made for, a refrigerated box truck. So we just kind of clarified that in the language that's before you today.
That's great. Thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Githens?
I look forward to taking on some of these projects. It really will make a substantive difference in our community.
Yeah, it will. Commissioner Jones?
It's very exciting to start moving forward with using these funds for the community. I do want to point out that this is not all we'll be doing.
Yeah.
We'll be considering other projects in the next year and awarding money for those.
Yeah, that's. I'm glad you said that. That's a very good point. We just started, and we've taken a lot of public input. We've had a number of discussions at public meetings with the council, which has been great. We do have a lot more to do, and our next discussion will be at the January work session of the county council. And so we look forward to having that conversation. And yeah, this is just the start. And I know we're going to need to do to go back and do another, get another approval on the appropriation on some of the items because they aren't going to be spent this year. So, but this is really a great start. And Mr. Cockrell, thank you for working so fast on getting this together. We really appreciate it. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on the Zoom screen or come to the podium in the Nat U Hill Room. Seeing none, all those in favor of ratifying the Monroe County American Rescue Plan Act Policy Revision Number 4 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And that brings us to the related item G.
Move approval of ratification of Monroe County American Rescue Plan Act Fund MOUs, fund name, American Rescue Plan Act, fund number 8950 in an amount of $3,725,064.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, Mr. Cockrell.
Yeah, and just to be clear, this is not a ratification. This item has not come, these items have not come before you, so this would be before approval. And also as clarification, I've been thanked twice for items at this meeting where, you know, a lot of the work is done in conjunction with our auditor's office. Sarah and Bree have worked closely on this item as well as a lot of the other ones. But what we have before you is 6 MOUs that total $3,725,046. They are 4 items that are in a plan, all but one of them, which were included in this recent change. The one that was not was for support for the Sojourn House to get their own property. And that one was for $164,000. They're all these are based upon a reimbursement kind of idea where the group would spend the money and then provide us with their receipts and things, and then we would reimburse those expenses. So that is kind of the basic crunch. If you want me to go through the projects, the Monroe County Fire Protection District is wanting to get 4 ambulances. We are going to support the capital purchase of that, and they are going to operate. And the fire service, initially they're planning on using it as kind of a backup only as they get up to speed with, you know, getting their personnel in place and getting the essential employees they need to run all the 4 of those. That is a large lead time item for them to do. So we wanted to get this agreement in place prior to the end of the year so they can begin you know, ordering those ambulances. Rural Transit is their request is for up to 6 transit vehicles for $540,000. When I spoke with the director, they were indicating that they are going to look at electric vehicles as well as the standard gas vehicles. I indicated that if they're doing electric vehicles and they have to do some kind of physical changes, that may be something that we could discuss as a county to maybe help support. I didn't make any promises, but I did alert them that if that's going to happen, then they should certainly talk to us. Hoosier Hill Food Bank is for the refrigerated box truck, and that's a $30,000. Habitat for Humanity, they are creating their Osage place and have a significant infrastructural cost, and this was to help them offset those costs so they can keep that phasing in place and keep moving forward with those. And the New Hope Early Education Center, we are supporting a lot of their construction work in that building, mostly involving the kitchen component of it. So that's what all these agreements are for. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. Essentially, the requirements of each of these is to make sure they spend the money in compliance with our American Rescue Plan Act, that they respond to any request for documentations, they submit a W-2, they do what they are indicated to do in the agreement. So those are kind of their basic obligations.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Commissioner Githens.
Yes, I'd like to amend my motion that this will be for approval of the Monroe County American Rescue Plan Act funds MOUs, and that correct the amount to $3,725,046 instead of what was on my agenda.
Yep.
And
I see that.
Yeah, I forgot to add the numbers up myself. And yes, thank you, Mr. Cockrell, for the correction.
We motion to amend.
Second.
All those in favor of amending the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
I'd also like to point out that with the ambulances, we're not looking to buy 4 brand new ambulances. We're looking to buy the chassis and to take the boxes that already exist from other ones, right? And so we're trying to be as frugal as possible with this money while also providing additional services to our county residents. This is important, I think.
Yeah. Commissioner Jones?
I'm just very excited to be getting these funds to these groups who can really use them. to the benefit of the community.
Yeah. Yeah, and so yeah, getting new buses for rural transit is important. Helping out Hoosier Hills Food Bank, always important. Yeah, I'll make a note on the ambulances. This has been they asked more than 6 months ago, gave us the information. But our dispatch center is pretty consistently calling out to other counties to provide backup ambulance service. That's a longer time delay for residents, and it's also, I believe, more expensive to receive that service. So this is going to help every single person in the county, whether they live in the city or not, because if we have ambulance service based, this is going to be basic life support versus advanced life support, which is what most people are used to with our current ambulance service. This is basic life support, but if we can free up an ambulance in the county, then that's another ambulance that's freed up in the city. So this will be everywhere where the Monroe County Fire Protection District serves. And they have EMTs. They, it's really a matter of getting the equipment ready. And it's really exciting. And I really applaud them for taking this on. They didn't have to do this. And it's going to mean a lot more work for them, but it's a really great service for our community. So we do appreciate it.
But in talking with Chief Dillard, he was looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah.
He sees the need on a regular basis.
He likes a challenge and he likes to serve the community. So kudos to him and his staff. Matt Bright's been great to work with. All right, let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on the Zoom screen or come to the podium in the Nat U Hill room. Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the amended motion on the Monroe County American Rescue Plan Act Fund MOUs signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item, please.
Move approval of Indiana University assignment of easement agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Cockrell.
Yes, this is an easement that will be assigned to the Monroe County. It is from Indiana University. There is a bridge that crosses the railroad track that was in disrepair, and the Indiana University did some work on it to get it to a standard, with the knowledge that it's going to have to go through a much bigger reconstruction overhaul in the next few years. Kudos to Ms. Ridge for getting the NDOT to provide 100% of the funding for the reconstruction and the repair of that bridge. However, in order for us to access the funding, we have to have in our inventory, and this easement would put it in our inventory. So we would be taking this on with the understanding that the NDOT is going to pay 100% of the reconstruction of the bridge costs, and then it will be in our bridge inventory. So hopefully, I believe when this first came about a few years ago, it was fairly an emergency. And so hopefully we avoid those emergencies by having this part of the county's bridge inspection plan and do the routine maintenance moving forward.
Right. Thank you. Comments, questions, Commissioner Gissens?
I was surprised that we have to pay $10 for the easement, but also it was hard for me to understand. Could you clarify exactly where this bridge is? I looked at the map and tried to blow it up and just had a lot of trouble.
Well, it is, if you go to the main library at Indiana University and go north, it is kind of the first bridge you hit when you get there. So I always think of it as right by where I had to get my fingers printed for taking the bar exam. So it's kind of between the library and the IU PD office, or at least where it was 20 years ago.
I know exactly where you mean then. Thank you.
That's where the railroad line is.
Right. Yeah. Right. I was just having trouble envisioning where that bridge was, but yeah, the students paint it oftentimes.
Oh, yeah.
And we inspected the bridge, and it's heavily used both by walkers and vehicles.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Commissioner Jones, comments, questions?
No, I don't.
Is there any public comment on this item? Raise your hand on the Zoom screen or come to the podium in the Nat U Hill room. Seeing none, all those in favor of the agreement with Indiana University regarding the assignment of an easement signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Move to award replacement of Bales Road Bridge number 45 to CLR Inc. Fund name Cumulative Bridge, fund number 1135, in an amount of $944,394.40.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Turner, good morning.
Good morning, commissioners. The agreement we have before you is to award the replacement of a bridge on Bells Road, bridge number 45. We opened bids on December 8th. We had two bidders. CLR would be the lowest, most responsible bidder, and that's what this contract's for.
Thank you. Comments, questions, Commissioner Gittens?
No, thank you.
Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Turner, we like to usually ask really tough questions when somebody comes in.
Put it on me.
I know, you can probably get them now, so it wouldn't be any fun.
I get a few of those a day.
So no, good on you. I appreciate you bringing this forward today. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on the Zoom screen or come to the podium in the Nat U Hill Room. Seeing none, all those in favor of awarding the replacement of Bales Road Bridge number 45 to CLR Inc. signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Move approval of DLZ LLC agreement for construction inspection services for Fullerton Pike Phase 3, fund name Fullerton Pike, fund number 8169, in an amount of $1,479,700.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, Mr. Turner.
Again, this is agreement between Monroe County Board of Commissioners and DLZ LLC. Fullerton Pike Phase 3, it's for the construction services. There's a procedure we follow with NDOT for the RFP process. DLZ was a consultant that was chosen through this process. And that is the contract we have before you today.
Great, thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Gittens?
No, this is something that is very important. So we see this with the bridge that we just approved the easement on. So, yeah.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes, it seems that Fullerton Pike pops up on our agenda very regularly and has for years and years and years. I was just curious if you have any idea of when Phase 3 might be completed.
I don't have a completion date. I know the construction goes to letting, I believe, June 12th. So we'll probably start work, maybe notice to proceed in September. So you probably start seeing some work in the fall.
Okay, well, we can, I expect, look forward to seeing more Fullerton Pike.
Yeah. I would say up until 2025, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is going to be a regular
Thank
thing.
you.
Yeah. Because there is that very long bridge. We have that very long bridge and as part of that project, and that's going to take even more time than usual.
And maybe I can help. I talked to Lisa when, because as you know, we're looking at a different piece of property for a different purchase in that area as to when the expectation for that roadway would be done. And she indicated that it was going to bid this summer and she expected a 2 construction cycle. So it would be done sometime in 2025.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on the Zoom screen or come to the podium in the Nat U Hill Room. Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the agreement with DLZ Inc. DLZ LLC for construction inspection services for Fullerton Pike Phase 3 signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Move approval to award Milestone Contractors various paving projects, fund name Rainy Day, fund number 1186, in an amount of $1,349,926.05.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Turner, please tell us all about it.
Yes, this is to award a contract for various paving within the county. This is part of our CCMG award we received, I believe, on December 6th. We opened bids on December 8th. We had 2 bidders. Most responsible bidder was Milestone Contractors. This is work for this summer.
Thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Gittens?
Just want to alert the public that this is part of the funding that comes from the Community Crossing Matching Grant. So NDOT will be paying for 50%.
Correct.
The cost.
Yeah, I believe it was awarded right out 835,000. So we'll match that.
Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
I don't have any questions either, but if you missed the news last week, we once again got the full $1 million in Monroe County, thanks to the work of Ms. Ridge and the staff, and all the hard work that goes into preparing those bids. And I know that there's another one coming up in January. They're going to go after it. So thank you for that. This is going to be really important for folks on those streets. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on the Zoom screen or come to the podium in Nat U Hill Room. Looks like we have Councilor Hawk joining us via Zoom. Good morning.
I just wanted to mention that I have seen some recent reports from, and I couldn't really tell the location, but they seem very displeased with what's happened with their driveway access to completion of some road construction. And so I don't know whether this same contractor is responsible and did the work in that area, but just to give a heads up, we have a lot of unhappy folks out there. Are you aware of where I'm speaking?
Are we talking about the Sample Road project, Marty?
Well, you know, I just saw some pictures. What would we do without Facebook? Where they were concerned about where their driveway was no longer going to meet up right with the road that had been raised and so forth. And I had people with me, so I couldn't do any further study on that. But I just want to bring that to everyone's attention. It was not, as I understand it, Monroe County government employees doing this. It was someone we contracted with. And so I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention, and I know that you'll follow up on it.
Yeah, we follow up on those issues, whether it be a driveway or drainage issue, whatever it is with our construction. That is our project up there. We hire that contractor. So we do try to follow through with anything that comes up on those projects.
I can add to this just for some clarification, because I did speak with Ms. Ridge, who shared this information, and the project isn't completed. The driveway in question is already larger than what would be anticipated as acceptable for coming onto our roadways. But the project with Sample Road has not been completed, and therefore their access to the driveway has not been resolved yet.
Right. So, thank you. All right. Any other public comment on this item? Raise your hand on the Zoom screen or come to the podium in Nat U Hill Room. Councilor Hawk, your hand's raised again.
Oh, I tried to lower it.
Okay, thank you. All right, I don't see any other comments. All those in favor of awarding Milestone Contractors various paving projects signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Move to approve request to utilize cash funds for completing improvements at Emerald Trace subdivision. Fund name, bid deposit and bond holding. Fund number 1108 in an amount of $83,570.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Ms. Nestor Jelen, good morning.
Good morning, commissioners. And here in the county commissioners meeting as well, we have Ben Ayers with the highway department, who will also be helping answering any questions you might have. But I'll go ahead and share my screen for today's request today. So we have Emerald Trace subdivision is close to being finished out. It's a subdivision that was recorded in 2007, and they have some remaining improvements that need to be completed. We've gone out and done some reevaluations of the site to today's standards. And basically what had happened is the developer failed to renew their letter of credit in the amount of $90,000. And so the highway department followed the protocol and cashed that amount. and we have put the item out for bid. So this is a highway and planning project. So the bid that we're suggesting be reviewed and approved is one from Ron Arnold, and it's for $83,570. So it does come under the amount that we have allocated for this project. And it would include items such as sidewalk repair, replacement, curb and gutter repair, inlet repair, and retention pond reconstruction. So below this, you will find an image of just where we're talking about in terms of Emerald Trace. As I mentioned, this is a project that included private developer funds. So these funds are not of public government receipts, so they don't need to be appropriated by the county council. There's a approved budget line in the highway department's funds for that. So this is an image of Emerald Trace, and then below you will find the contract that's been signed by Mr. Ron Arnold and is waiting for commissioners' vote as well. So myself or Ben Ayers can take any questions that you have.
All right, thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Gissens?
Given all that we've been working on with stormwater, I'm pleased to see that the issues with the retention pond is also being addressed here.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes, I agree with Commissioner Gissens. And I also noticed as the contract quickly went past that I'm listed as vice president. And at this time, Commissioner Gissens is actually the vice president.
We'll correct that. I apologize.
Has this been reviewed by legal? Mr. Schilling, I would assume. Okay, great. Thank you so much. All right, let's see if there's any public comment on this. And again, thank you to you and Mr. Ayers and getting this project completed. I know the residents are going to be happy to have this done. All right, I don't see any public comment. TSD, are there any hands raised on the Zoom screen? Thank you so much. All right, seeing none, we'll come back for a vote. All those in favor of approving the request to utilize cash funds for completing improvements at Emerald Trace subdivision signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. And we have item M, which was added at the beginning of the meeting.
Yes. Move approval of the ordinance to amend chapter 230 of the Monroe County Code.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Ms. Turner King. Good morning again.
Good morning again. The ordinance before you amends Monroe County Code 230 addressing the Monroe County Women's Commission. Specifically, this ordinance amends the membership terms for the Women's Commission, which is addressed in section 2 of the code. It reduces the number of members from 11 to 7. Currently, there are 6 seated commissioners, and reducing the number will help with quorum issues. It also removes language regarding how many members can reside within corporate limits of the city, but does state that there's a strong preference that appointees would live within the county, or they have to be a Monroe County residents, but there's a preference that they would live outside of the city. The breakdown of the 7 memberships would be 3 citizens appointees by the commissioners, 2 citizen appointees by the county council, 1 member of the Board of Commissioners or an employee appointed by the Board of Commissioners, and then 1 member from the county council or an employee appointed by the county council. And it removes the membership from the City of Bloomington Commission, a member of the City of Bloomington Commission. Right now, there's a joint member who serves on both. And those would be the amended. I would say that the ordinance number on the top, it's incorrect. And so I would need to correct the ordinance to 2022-52 and then the amended date on the bottom. So if you approve this, I would ask to make those corrections.
52.
Correct.
Thank you. What are we changing at the bottom?
The amended date. So it'll become
today's date. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. I think we can.
That can be.
We don't need to do a motion to amend, do we, Mr. Cockrell?
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
I think the motion to approve the ordinance, and we know what today's date is. I think we can just go ahead and.
This is just clarifying information, having an ordinance number. All right, comments, questions, Commissioner Githens,
No, thanks.
Commissioner Jones.
No, I don't.
Thank you for working on this. It has taken a while, but it's taken a while because we've had a lot of input, and I appreciate your patience and your work on this. This is going to be really important to help ensure that the Women's Commission can continue to flourish, and we appreciate everybody who's devoted their time and energy to the Women's Commission. Thank you for that. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on the Zoom screen or come to the podium in the Nat U Hill room. Seeing none, all those in favor of approving ordinance 2022-52 signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you again. All right, we don't have any appointments today. I have just a couple of announcements. Just a reminder that we are accepting applications for boards and commissions. Go to co.monroe.in.us and fill out a form. We'll be looking at these early in the new year. So it'll be really important to get those applications in as soon as possible. Don't wait to make a New Year's resolution, make a December resolution instead. We do still have office hours 6 times a month. If you go to the calendar at co.monroe.in.us, you can see the schedule. Just join us via Zoom, and one of us will work with you, have a conversation with you, listen to your ideas, your complaints, your concerns, and help you as best we can. We look forward to meeting with you. This is our last regularly scheduled meeting for the year. We do not have a work session. So from all of us to all of you, happy holidays, happy 2023. County government is closed December 23rd and 26th, and December 30th and January 2nd for the holidays. And our next regular meeting is January 4th, 2023. Oh my gosh. I know, sounds so far away and it's not. So everyone, from all of us, happy holidays, and thank you to everyone here for all your hard work. Our staff is amazing, and we really appreciate everybody in county government for all their hard work all year round. So anything to add?
This is personal. I'd like to add something. As many people around the county know, I have a recount going on my race for Indiana House in District 62. And there are a lot of rumors swirling around about what caused the recount. The recount was requested because of the small difference in the number of votes. And I want to categorically state that the petition was not filed due to the slight delay in reporting of the total votes in Monroe County. That just was not part of the issues that we were trying to address with this. And watching the recount that's been going on, I've been in Jackson County and Brown County, and yesterday in Monroe County, and the State Board of Accounts, which is overseeing the recount, has said that what's going on in Monroe County is far smoother than what they saw in the other 2 counties. And so I want to applaud our staff again for the professional way in which they've dealt with things. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jones.
Just happy holidays and hopefully a wonderful new year.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And with that, we are adjourned for 2022.